Welcome back once again to my channel, friends. So this is a beginner's friendly tutorial on CI/CD. It's a DevOps concepts and CI/CD full form, all you know most probably, and that is called continuous integration and continuous deployment or continuous delivery. Some people call it like that. But what is this CI/CD and why do I need it, right? So this probably the tutorial that is the right place you have come across, and we'll talk about today, and not only just the theoretical, but we'll basically focus majority of the discussion with the hands-on. There is no coding will be there almost, and it's all about the configurations. So just to bring little bit of relevance to our discussion, think about as a developer, we do our development in dev system, and once we are done with our coding and everything looks fine, we basically move changes to the next system, which is maybe a UX system or IT system, depending on your landscape or the project path that you have selected, and finally you will move changes to production. But in this overall journey, if you just think around, it's almost many processes are iterative and so manual driven, right? So can we make it a little bit of automation, right? So we do a testing that can be automated. Even people are nowadays following the TDD approach, which is called test driven development, so that it can perform the code coverage as well as the regression testing much better, okay? And all things can be automated. So let's understand like what exactly we are going to build in this journey. So in my BTP trial account, currently I have this trial sub account configured. On top of it, I'll just create 3 more sub accounts: dev, quality, and production. Yeah, I could have used my trial sub account as my dev sub account itself, but just for the demonstration purpose, I'll just create this 3 different sub accounts. Also, I'll just consume 3 services which are like CI/CD service, transport management service, and also the alert notification service. So how things will work, like in my local machine, I have my VS Code installed, and where I'll just use this ID to create a simple UI5 application using Northwind service. And once I'm done with this, I'll just move the changes, or rather push the changes to this GitHub repository, right? And there will be a CI/CD job which will be in listening mode, and that will just keep watching if there is any changes happen to this repository or not. And if it finds something there, it will immediately take these changes into the dev system. All right, so now what will happen, it is not only move changes to the dev system, but also it will make the transport ready to be imported for the next system, which is a quality system over here. And it will not be imported, it will be make things ready to be imported. Okay, so if you think like in dev system things are all working fine, then this changes you can manually import into quality, or you can schedule things so that it will be automatically imported into the quality system. And the moment it is the transport is imported into, or maybe started for importing into the quality environment, alert notification will basically give me an alert, and I'll just configure my personal Gmail account over here, and you will see like a lot of other options will be there for this receiving the notification. So I'll just get a notification in my Gmail account in this case, and the things will be now moved into quality. And the process the same, it will again make the changes or the transport ready to be imported for the production. And if quality passed, it is successful, everything is okay, then the same process you can either manually import it or you can schedule it. So enter process in this case will just achieve through the CI/CD service, TMS, and the alert notifications. Anyway, I've created a simple CI/CD this particular process as a steps, so that I don't forget things, and also it can be useful when you'll just do the same thing in your system or in your account, and we'll just follow along with these steps while we'll go into this hands-on. So let's create a quick Fiori application using Open Application Generator. So now select it from here, the Wi-Fi freestyle. I'll just go for Fiori work list. Now in the data source, I prefer to go with an OData service, and here is my Northwind service URL. I can just copy this end to end, put it back, little bit space. Okay, and it should be ready for the next step. Collection, anything I can do for the time being. Let's go for products maybe. It's nothing important. I just to create a Fiori application quickly. And product name, object number, maybe you can select something. What should I, maybe category ID, or maybe something unit price, I don't know. Anything. Okay, that's doesn't matter, whatever I select. So the module name, I call it as a product. Application title, let's say product list. Namespace, I can ignore, or let's project folder path is fine. Yeah, the deployment configuration is important, so I need to select yes. I don't need to put it into any Fiori Launchpad. Configuration is not required. Click on next. Now it will give certain options. Select the Cloud Foundry. Destination name, I'll be using a Northwind destination, so I'll just put Northwind. Now here it is very important. Add application to managed application router, means cloud BTP managed app router. I should say yes. So what will happen? It will not create any app router, kind of a custom app router, but something managed by BTP. So you will see that application will be hosted in the as a separate HTML5 section. We'll see that soon. So now go for create finish. So it will create my application and it will install all the dependencies. It looks like the installation is done and my project is ready with all the artifacts auto generated. So what we'll do is just go to this product folder, and if you just check the package.json, you'll find a start script, which is start command. So I'll just run npm run start. So it will just execute this application in local host and port. So let's see, probably some problem created, or no, it is all fine. Coming up with a Fiori sandbox launchpad environment. This is my application, and it will start fetching details from Northwind service. Perfect. So what we'll do next, we'll create a repository in GitHub. So log into your GitHub account and you can create a new repository. I'll call it as a product list and keep it public. I don't need any readme or license, anything, just create a repository. Fine. So now go back to this application. Let's stop the terminal. Okay, so now what I want, this particular project is not git enabled. So to make it git enabled, you have to run git init command, and it is initialized now, right? So next is git add dot, so that will make all my changes into staging area. Along with that, I'll make a git commit to my local git repository -m, and I'm calling it as an initial version. Okay, all set. So now particular project is now all commit is done. So next would be, I'll just grab this particular URL and I'll just make it like git remote at origin. That's it. So now this is actually linked to my git repository, and now if I make a git push command, my enter changes will move into the git repository. I'll not do it right away, I'll do it later. Now thing is, if you are would like to the same things from business application studio, definitely you can do that as well. Only thing is, like, when you'll be pushing changes to GitHub, no more the the git user and password will work for you. You need a specific token to be generated. In one of the tutorial where I just used the git demonstrated how to create a token, I'll just give the video URL in the description box below so that you can take a look if you're interested. So the next step is like creating a few sub accounts, and as per our earlier flow chart or kind of a diagram, architectural diagram, you will see like it's the same replica. You can see over here it's my trial system and dev, prod and QA. Just to expedite our discussion little bit, faster way to finish, I just already created this 3 systems. So in dev system, you will see this all things will be created as per your wizard selection, but your Cloud Foundry will not be enabled by default. You have to click on this button called Enable Cloud Foundry. As I have already enabled, so it is showing disable. But for in your case, it will be enabled, of course. And once it is enabled, you have a provision now to create a space under the Cloud Foundry. So create space and click and create a space like name dev, for example, I have given. And after this particular piece is over, you have to just install, rather subscribe one of the service which is called Launchpad. So question is why Launchpad is required? This is because, as you can recall, when we created the Fiori application, we have selected BTP managed app router. In doing so, what will happen the moment that application I'll deploy from this, from this GitHub to this development system, it will not be available under space section. In application section, it will not be available. It will still remain 0. But it will be available in HTML5 applications. Now, to show the applications over here, you need to enable Launchpad. Now, the moment you create a sub account, you might not see the Launchpad service available under service and marketplace area. So for that, as a process, you have to change the entitlement area, and you have to see it is showing over here, but in your case, it won't show. So you have to click on configure and then add service plans, and then you have to search over here Launchpad, and you see I have already selected this one, so it's showing. It's a great version. It's showing for you. You can just select this one and click on the add this service. So once this is entitlement done, make sure you save. Click the save button, of course, and then next step would be going to service marketplace. And you will now able to see the Launchpad if you select from here. Okay, so next step would be click on this 3 dot, and the first option will be enable for you, which is called create. Click on this create, and it will generate an instance for you, which you can show see rather from this particular instance option. So that's it. I don't need to do much over here. That's all we just need. Okay, so it's all right. Now next thing is you need to create a destination. By the way, why this destination needed? Very simple. We have used the Northwind service. So obviously when my application will host in dev system, to test that application, it would again need the same destination, Northwind service destination. So that's the reason, because when I executed this program from my local environment, it used a Node.js middleware. Okay, so using that, it didn't need a destination, of course, but from cloud we need it. So for that, go to this destination section, and you need to create a destination called same name, Northwind, which we have used. And if you select all the details, you can see. If you click on check connections, it will show 200. Okay, that means everything fine. All right. So similarly, I have created prod and QA systems, and everywhere I just added the Launchpad as well as the Northwind destination. Fine. Now next thing would be like to enable this particular services, which is a CI/CD, TMS, and alert notifications. Now similar way in trial system, I just added this cloud transport management as well as the continuous integration and delivery. I'll talk about the alert notification later on. So one important thing is, like, while you go for the cloud transport management, you'll see this once you subscribe these services, you have to click on over here and go to manage roles, and you have to make sure you have all the role connections showing us like that. Also, important thing is, as I said, the trust configuration. Once you have all those things, go to the trust configuration, and you ensure all the kind of things are all set, all kind of related roles and things are all added over there. Okay, otherwise it will not work. And when I'm just using this continuous this cloud transport management, right, you just will have something, an instance you will create, and I have telling like this TMS, transport management system, and you have to click on that, and you will give a provision called service key. Currently it is showing a service key which I have created, so it will be empty. For in your case, you have to click on this create button. This pop-up will open, and nothing to do over here, just put a value, something like that, and just click on create. That's it. It will automatically generate all the different service keys which are required later on. Okay, so this is all set. Next, go to now this continuous integration and delivery section. How to go to into that? Click on over here and go to application. So once you open this SAP continuous integration and delivery service, you will see something like that. Obviously I have already created 3 credentials. I'll tell you why I required this one. Create like this one. Let's create something as a fresh. So you just put any name which you can later on identify. Just I have given CF dev sub account, then basic authentication, and username will be put kind of your trial account user ID and respective password. Okay, make sure you just set it up as basic authentication. That way I created this particular one. When you'll be using for GitHub account, you have to use the GitHub related details. You have to give the user ID and credential of your GitHub account. And the last one is the transport management's kind of a service key. And when you are doing this one, you have to select the basic authentication. No, it will be a service key you have to select, and then this area will be open for you. And what you need to do, you need to just go over here, this particular transport management system. As I told earlier, there is a service key we created. So just copy this entire JSON that you will see over here and paste it inside this pop-up. That's it. That way these 3 credentials will be created. So we are creating these credentials. Of course, we'll be referencing these credentials when we'll create a job. Shortly I'll create now. So this is the job section. So let's create a job. As I told, like a background job will be running, which will be just keep listening to this GitHub repository to see if any changes there, and based on the configuration setup, it will just start doing its job. So in general, there are a lot of different tools available in the market. As I told probably earlier, that is kind of a Jenkins or maybe GitLabs, GitHub Actions. There are much more of tools, right, which are there. So there you can have a provision to write your own stages using a Groovy script. You can use Groovy script to create the different stage build up to create a build rather for the Jenkins case, and you can make those process automated the way you want. Right. So this particular service is more about an abstraction, and it's all hiding those kind of complexities, rather kind of a graphical user interface, and it is just much more easy for configuration perspective. Okay, so job name, I am just calling it as a product job. Okay, anything you can give. So repository, it talks about the GitHub repository. So you can click on that, add repository section. Okay, if I click on that, it will open this kind of pop-up. So let's go to GitHub repository now. Yeah, so we just created this a product list repository. So I just copy this one, and we can just put it back to our this pop-up, right? So name you can put the repository name should be exactly the name that there, which is product list. No dot, nothing. Make sure no space is there. This product list. Okay, credentials, of course the GitHub account credential. That's here I'm just using one of the credentials I have just created. Of course the state should be on. So if you add it up, now you see the repository is added, it's showing 1. Let's move to the branch is mandatory, it should be master branch. Okay, now interesting thing is the pipeline. So there are a few options given for the pipeline creation, and the first one is CAP programming, second is Fiori, the Neo, and some integration suites. So I'll be using SAP Fiori. So what next? Kind of a build or retention area, you can change it whatever it suits to you. Stages, keep it as job editor. Now test, if you just have some sort of test options you have created, right? So you can just make this active. I'll just make it simple, I'll just make it off. Malware scan is definitely recommended. Now this area is important, which is called the deployment section. So if I click on active, I'll have the option to add the details. So let's go to, because as per our diagram, we are about to deploy the code to dev system at the first code from GitHub to direct, right? So let's go to dev system now, and what we'll do, we'll simply grab the API endpoint, which you can see over here, this API endpoint, copy this enter piece and close with something, old things are there. So API endpoint, make sure there is no space, something. Yeah. Now org name is something like this is the org name, devsys. Sorry. Yeah. Space is dev. And credentials, the cloud credential, right? So cloud founder dev sub account credential, which is your BTP trial cockpit user ID and credentials. Fine. So next is the upload to cloud transport management. So when you just do this you are supposed to add the node name and service key information. So for the time being, let me put this one and I'll just explain how did I get it. So QA is the node name, because from dev it will go to QA, right? So that is the plan. If you can recall, yeah, dev to QA. So that's why I'm just giving a node name QA. How this QA node name is coming up, that definitely I'll talk about soon. So service key is, we just created this transport management. So this key I'll just add that pretty much. I think I have covered all. So next, click on create. So once this is created, it is in on status, you see. Fine. So let's go to, yeah, so here is one interesting thing. It is showing like this webhook token for repository product list. So it generated a web token. So this webhook token we need to basically add to our a GitHub repository. How to get this out? Go to repository, click on this thing. I mean this, not the Git link, but the list item. Here you will see something called webhook data. Click on that and you'll see these two information: payload URL and content type, application JSON, and obviously the secret key. So you need to copy this one and go to your GitHub repository. This is your repository that we have created, right? Go to settings and go to webhook section and put you have to just use ID password. Now here the payload URL you have to put, application type, make sure your application JSON, and the secret one is this secret key. Copy this one. Fine. So add webhook, all set. Fine. So this part is all fine. So let's quickly talk about now the transport management related things, because we have used already during job creation. So let's understand how this QA node is coming into picture, right? Okay, so for that, Let's go to trial system, go to instance service. I think I am in dev system. That is incorrect. Let's go to my main global account, trial system. And now what will happen, I will just go to my instances subscription, and I will see this kind of cloud transport management. So click on that, and there is something called go to application. If we click on this, so I have already created certain route and I tested certain scenarios before, but for this demonstration, let me create it as a fresh. All right. So now I'll click on this landscape wizard, and it will give me an option like that. I'm selecting the 2 node landscape because this is one of the node, right? This is another node, because the development environment will be just pull information from GitHub directly, right? For the transport, I need these two nodes, one QA and QA and prod. So select this one, click on next. The pop-up will happen. I'm giving a node name QA and node name prod. So allow upload to node option, make it enable, make it auto, so that automatically it's updated to the transport path. Content type, I'll use multi-target application in both the cases. Destination, we need a destination to be created for this transport system. So I have just used destination a QA system and this prod system. No worries, I'll just talk about this QA and prod destination system build up as well, because it needs certain specific information, and without knowing that you cannot create this QA and prod. So I'll just talk about that as well. So for the time being, I've selected this QA and prod system. That's it. Okay, and it will just propose a route name, route, whatever you call it. So node 1 to node 2 means quality to production, it will move. Okay, everything set. Let's click on next. So now it will generate it. Perfect. So it landscape successfully generated. Let's click on summary, and it will show this how things will be moved from one node to another node, right? From QA to this prod. Click on finish. So once you do that, you will see you will have now the nodes created, one prod and one QA. All right. So now let's head over to the destination part to see how these two destinations I created. Going to trial system, because obviously from trial, I am just using this transport management. So everything I'm doing in trial, nothing, don't get confused that all this destination will be there in dev. No, in the dev, QA and prod, I have only one destination, and that is the not in service. Other than that, I'll not create any other destination. Everything, rest of the destination I'm talking about, everything points to this trial sub account. Okay, just to be sure you don't get confused. So let's go to destination now, and they will see this a few more destinations I created. So one is the QA system. So in the QA system, how it works is like you need to use this particular URL, okay, and that URL you can get it from here. In this SAP Help Documentation, I'll give the link in the description box. So this is the URL, like it will end up with the my organization and my space and then SLP. So everything will be as it is. You may need to change this Europe or US depending on the region that you have selected. So that way I just created this destination, and it's a basic authentication, simple, and I'm using my SAP user ID and password of my trial account. And you make sure you have this JDK store link all set up. Okay, fantastic. So this is all fine, and make sure you check a connection, and it will definitely show you something like okay, like 200 okay. Similarly, I have created a prod system. So one important thing probably I missed out to tell you before, and that is in the SAP transport management, cloud transport management system. As we said, like there is some sort of alert notification, right? So moment my changes are actually imported into QA, I would like to get an alert notification in my personal Gmail account. So this kind of an notification to send it across, some checkbox to be active. And as we are planning to set it up for QA, so I just have to click on this edit button and make sure I click on this one called perform notification. It will not is showing when you just create through the landscape wizard, but make sure you just set it up, otherwise your notification will not initiate. Okay, so that's one important thing. So let's now head over to kind of a testing. For example, I know the alert notification is still not covered, we'll do that soon. But before that, if I just now, my code is complete, it is working fine. And if I now just push my changes to GitHub, what happens? Let's see. So git push and origin master, right? So if I do that, what will happen? It's all changes fine. So let's go to our continuous integration, go to job, click on this job, voila, you see one commit initiated just now. Okay, and if I go there, let it become, it may take certain time depending on network speeds and the availability of the resources. Click on the refresh and it will show the next stage soon, I believe. So now it is in the initial stages running. Now you see the testing is skipped because we just make it disabled, we didn't switch on the testing. So the build process is now going on. So now build is successful and the malware scan started now. Looks like the malware scan is also complete and the final deployment is in process. Looks like the deploy is also successful, and hopefully now it should start the uploading to transport path. And yes, it is going. The next final stage, uploading to transport management service. Let's wait for some time. And this part is also successful. Now one interesting thing, probably if you just would like to check, let's click on this, let's say one of the deployment process, it will take you to this log, and you just notice it's behind the scene, it's running Jenkins. You see Jenkins agent, right? So those kind of things are all complicated things. It's been abstracted and it is basically using behind the scene the same kind of tools. Great. So what is the next stage? As per the rule, this kind of, the push command triggered the job started all the deployment process, and it added the changes to the transport path. So if I go to now dev system, I'm supposed to see this product list. So let's go to dev system now. Okay, where is that? Go to global account. Yeah, I was just logged out, and let's relog in. Go to dev system. And I have my HTML5 applications. So it's created application called product, because that was our application was, right? Product, right? So this is created a product application. This was my older application. You can ignore it. Just click on the product application now. And you will see the details coming up like that. Fantastic. Okay, so let's do one more thing quickly. It can be a repetitive process. So just for your information, if I want to change something now in the title, right? So it is telling it's a product list. You see, it's a product list. Let's change it to product list application, something like that I want to change. Okay, I'm saving it. So my Git is now active because it's Git enabled. I'll use my VS Code source control option to commit to local repository. So I'm just saying title changed. Click on here, and now it is still not in GitHub repository. So let's go to GitHub repository. When the last changes we have pushed, if we just want to see, just refresh it, you will see all the things, and it is still showing initial version. So if I just now move this latest changes called product list application, I think I have to change, yeah, this one, I guess, product list title, right? So let's the same command, git push origin master, and it will change, it will put changes to things. So let's refresh once again, and I'll make sure my web app gets changed now. Yeah, title change. At the same time, it has triggered another continuous deployment option. So close this one, and you see the next second commit is initiated because we have made another commit, right? So it will start again, and I will not definitely record all those steps, but wait for some time and pausing the video till enter things is over, and then we'll test it. It looks like the second commit is also over, and it's everything successful. So that means the changes that we have added is like product list application. So this is supposed to be a refresh now. So let's go to our product list. If we make a refresh, let's see what happens. Voila, you see it's showing product list application. So I'm just making a changes to my development project, right? When local system, I'm just making a push to my GitHub repository, enter things moving automatically to a development system. Now still the things are not complete because we have to check the QA node now. So in the QA node, I'll see expect 2 commits. So let's go into that. So if I just select this 2, I have a provision to go import selected, or I can have a sheet scheduling like daily, weekly, or something like that. I can have a provision. Now to expedite our understanding, so I'll just make it import selected, and it will basically now import the changes to the quality server. Also at the same time, I would expect my notification to be received in the Gmail account. So I've just opened Gmail in parallel also, we'll see. So let's click on the import selected. It will take certain time, of course. So once it's successful, I will just start my recording again, pausing it for the time being. You see already I have got a notification from SAP BTP TMS notification. So this is kind of a things it's telling that on the QA node, the transport management import started, this particular event is already fired, and I'm able to see the kind of a content. This content could have been much better organized with a different template and kind of a dynamic variable selection possible, but for this demonstration I have just made it very simple, or can be considered as a default template, or sort of I've used, and I've got the notifications. Okay, and so this alert notification things is working. I'll talk about alert notification at the end, as I said. So let's see what's going on. Still the processing is going on because running. Let's quickly see the quality system also, because it was our dev system. So in the quality system, if we go, what will happen? I'll just check this HTML5, and you see now the product is over here, and this transport is still running on, it's not complete. So meantime, if I just test what will happen, I mean, you see it is just showing the initial one, which is product list. The latest changes not yet reached. Okay, so refresh the application to see if any changes happened. Yeah, the application now title gets changed, but yeah, now the overall status looks succeeded. That's great. You see in the production nodes now both the transports are now not the production node, both the commits are actually forwarded now, and its status is now initial. So that means in production system, we don't have this application available yet. We can quickly confirm. So this product application should not be there in production system. And if we just go to HTML5, we'll see product list, but not product. You see the previous older demo which I built earlier, that is there, but not the new one that I have just created, right? So now let's focus on the alert notification part. So alert notification is I have activated in trial system, as I mentioned earlier. So in this instance on subscription, you can find this because I have already instantiated. And make sure you just create a key over there, because this key is quite important, and this key information will be used for the destination part creation. So to see the destination, let's go to destination part, and here this is the name of the destination. That is a kind of a fixed name. You cannot give anything else. And how did I get it? You can check the same SAP Help Documentation, and it is telling like alert notification service. This is what should be the name. So the rest of the things are all client ID, client secret, and this time the authentication should be OAuth 2 client credentials, and client ID, client secret, and token service URL. This all you will find it from that particular service key that you will generate against the alert notification instance. So now go to alert notification instance again, and you need to do certain things now. So select here and click on, so just get inside that. You have to click on manage instance. It will open, take you to the new page. To click on subscription, it will come to this page. I have created a new subscription over here. So you have to click the create button to create this one import queue. So let's see what I have done. It basically will come as some sort of a wizard. You have to just follow along. So I created this subscription, and I didn't use any label as such, right? And then what I did, when there will be a matching condition, I have used the event type is kind of a TMS import started. So that information, how do they get it? You can get it somewhere like this: TMS imported started and TMS imported finished. Okay, and they are also telling certain things like node name. You can just add the node name, node ID, etc. So what I did is basically I just added two kind of an AND operation. So one is the event type is this TMS imported started, import started, and the tags name I used as kind of a is equal to QA. So is something you can create it from the wizard itself. And finally the assigned action means once this particular conditions match, what needs to be done. The assigned action is kind of it will trigger an email to the personal account. So I have just created a actions option, and here I'll just add it up the details about my personal Gmail account. I have given my personal Gmail account over here, some sort of subject, etc. I have just created. If you just use the HTML option, then you will have to provide an HTML template, and then you can just add it up certain dynamic variables. Yeah, that's all, my friend. I hope this discussion was helpful to you, and I also expect you will try it out by your own to experience this CI/CD over cloud BTP. Don't forget to subscribe my channel if you would like to see this kind of content in future. So we'll again connect soon, maybe a different topic, and goodbye till then.